New findings on surgery for women with cancer genes.
Every year, 1 million women around the world are found to have breast cancer. Almost 200,000 others are told they have ovarian cancer. The decisions for treatment are more difficult when the women have abnormal versions of two genes called BRCA1 and BRCA2. The mutations in these genes can increase the risk for other kinds of cancer, including cancer of the cervix, uterus, and pancreas.
It's kind of like you're sitting on a time bomb, waiting for cancer to occur. And it really does a number on you mentally to deal with that every single day.
Sandra Cohen has never had breast cancer or ovarian cancer, but she has the BRCA1 and BRCA2 mutations. So she decided to have doctors remove her breasts and ovaries. She made the decision after her mother and grandmother both died from the same kind of cancers. Doctors have known for several years that preventative surgery reduces the risk of ovarian and breast cancer for women with the mutations. But a new study also shows that these operations help those patients live longer. The 4-year study involved about 2,500 women with the genetic mutations. One of the researchers was Dr. Susan Domchek at the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine.
Women who had their ovaries removed had a decrease in the risk of breast cancer, a decrease in the risk of ovarian cancer, and in addition, they were less likely to die of breast cancer, less likely to die of ovarian cancer, and also had an improvement in their overall survival.
The study found that none of the women who had preventative breast removal developed breast cancer. 7% later did among those who decided against the surgery. The rate of breast cancer was also 7% among women who did not have their ovaries removed. Among those who did, the breast cancer rate was 1%. The study also found that the women who had ovarian removal lowered their risk of death from ovarian cancer by almost 80%. Their risk of death from breast cancer was 56% lower, says Dr. Susan Domchek.
Our conclusion is that removing the ovaries particularly is very beneficial to women with BRCA1 and BRCA2 mutations.
The researchers say women with a strong family history of breast or ovarian cancers should get genetic testing. Sandra Cohen did.
Do some research with a genetic counselor. Meet other women who have gone through it. It really will empower you and give you the strength to take some action.
The study appeared in JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association.
Project seeks to cut deaths, build market for clean cookstoves.
Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has announced a plan to get cleaner-burning cooking stoves into developing countries. The plan aims to reduce deaths caused by smoke from the traditional use of solid fuels and open fires. Almost half the world's people breathe smoke from coal and biomass fuels like wood, dung, and crop waste. The smoke can lead to lung cancer, heart disease, low birth weight, and other problems. It also increases the risk of pneumonia, a leading cause of death in young children. Women and children are most at risk because they spend the most time in the kitchen. Also, in areas of conflict, the search for fuel puts women at increased risk of violence. The goal of the Global Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves is 100 million homes using safer cook stoves and fuels by 2020. Secretary Clinton said last week in New York that clean stoves could make as big a difference in the world as bed nets or vaccines.
The World Health Organization considers smoke from dirty stoves to be one of the 5 most serious health risks that face people in poor developing countries. Nearly 2 million people die from its effects each year, more than twice the number from malaria. And because the smoke contains greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane, as well as black carbon, it contributes to climate change.
Founding partners in the alliance include governments and United Nations agencies, nonprofit groups, and the energy company Shell. The alliance hopes to raise at least $250 million within 10 years. The United States has promised to donate more than $50 million over the next 5 years. The aim is to create a strong global market for clean cook stoves. The alliance will identify target markets and work to get women involved in business operations. It will also develop indoor air quality guidelines, test clean stoves and fuels, and develop research roadmaps. The United States Environmental Protection Agency has donated $6 million towards the effort. EPA Administrator Lisa Jackson says the problem of cook stove pollution is really an issue of poverty.
This is, in many ways, the ultimate environmental justice issue. We can't fix everything in their lives immediately, but today we're starting a process to help them meet the most basic human need, cooking a meal, in a way that won't cause them harm.
Groups seek $4 billion for child vaccines.
Vaccines and chest compressions are both ways to save lives. Now, separate new reports say each could save more lives if they were used more. One report is from the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies and the Gavi Alliance. Gavi is the Global Alliance for Vaccines and Immunization. This alliance of public and private groups finances vaccines in poor countries. Spokesman Jeffrey Rowland says Gavi has done a lot since it began 10 years ago.
We have prevented 5.4 million premature deaths. It means that these children will not die of these diseases. 5.4 million, and we hope to prevent 4.2 million premature deaths by keeping immunization rates high over the next 5 years for basic immunization and rolling out vaccines against pneumonia and rotavirus diarrhea.
Gavi says these two diseases cause more than 1/3 of all deaths in children under age 5. It says new vaccines against the pneumococcal bacteria and rotavirus could save more than 1 million children each year. But the group warns that a shortage of $4 billion threatens these and other immunization programs. Some of these programs have made great progress against polio and other diseases preventable by vaccines. In other health news, a new study compares ways of saving patients with cardiac arrest. Sudden cardiac arrest is when the heart develops an abnormal rhythm and stops beating. An analysis of 4 studies found no difference in short-term survival when rescuers followed current guidelines. These call for defibrillation as soon as possible. A defibrillator is the device used to shock the heart back to normal rhythm. But there was a small increase in long-term survival among those who received chest compressions before defibrillation. This was true 1 year after cardiac arrest, and especially if there were delays in the arrival of emergency medical services. Dr. Pascal Meyer of the University of Michigan Health System led an international study of 1,500 patients.
What we wanted to test is whether it would be better to start first with good quality chest compressions to prepare the heart for this electrical shock, to give some blood circulation to the brain and the heart before we apply the shock.
Dr. Meyer says people should start to give compressions immediately if emergency help has not arrived. He says good quality compressions are done in the middle of the chest.
On the breastbone, usually about 2 fingers above the lower end of the chest bone. You put your both hands, and then you have to straighten your arms and do pretty strong compressions there.
Why vitamins are important to good health.
Many jobs must be done with 2 people. One person takes the lead. The other helps. It is this cooperation that brings success. So it is with the human body. Much of our good health depends on the cooperation between substances. When they work together, chemical reactions take place smoothly. Body systems are kept in balance. Some of the most important helpers in the job of good health are the substances we call vitamins.
The word vitamin dates back to Polish scientist Casimir Funk in 1912. He was studying a substance in the hull that covers rice. This substance was believed to cure a disorder called beriberi. Funk believed the substance belonged to a group of chemicals known as amines. He added the Latin word vita, meaning life, so he called the substance a vitamine, an amine necessary for life.
Funk was not able to separate the anti-beriberi substance from the rice hulls. It was later shown to be thiamine. Other studies found that not all vitamins were amines, so the name was shortened to vitamin. But Funk was correct in recognizing their importance. Scientists have discovered 14 kinds of vitamins. They are known as vitamins A, the B group, C, D, E, and K. Scientists say vitamins help to carry out chemical changes within cells. If we do not get enough of the vitamins we need in our food, we are at risk of developing a number of diseases.
This brings us back to Casimir Funk. His studies of rice were part of a long search for foods that could cure disease. One of the first people involved in that search was James Lind of Scotland. In the 1740s, Lind was a doctor for the British Navy. He was investigating a problem that had existed in the Navy for many years. The problem was the disease scurvy. So many sailors had scurvy that the Navy's fighting strength was very low. The sailors were weak from bleeding inside their bodies. Even the smallest wound would not heal. Dr. Lind thought the sailors were getting sick because they failed to eat some kinds of foods when they were at sea for many months.
Dr. Lind separated 12 sailors who had scurvy into 2 groups. He gave each group different foods to eat. One group got oranges and lemons. The other did not. The men who ate the fruit began to improve within 7 days. The other men got weaker. Dr. Lind was correct. Eating citrus fruits prevents scurvy. Other doctors looked for foods to cure the diseases rickets and pellagra. They did not yet understand that they were seeing the problem from the opposite direction. That is, it is better to eat vitamin-rich foods to prevent disease instead of eating them to cure a disease after it has developed.
Which foods should be eaten to keep us healthy? Let us look at some important vitamins for these answers. Vitamin A helps prevent skin and other tissues from becoming dry. It is also needed to make a light-sensitive substance in the eyes. People who do not get enough vitamin A cannot see well in darkness. They may develop a condition that dries the eyes. This can result in infections and lead to blindness. Vitamin A is found in fish liver oil. It also is in the yellow part of eggs. Sweet potatoes, carrots, and other darkly colored fruits and vegetables contain substances that the body can change into vitamin A.
Vitamin B1 is also called thiamine. Thiamine changes starchy foods into energy. It also helps the heart and nervous system work smoothly. Without it, we would be weak and would not grow. We also might develop beriberi. Thiamine is found not just in whole grains, like brown rice, but also in other foods. These include beans and peas, nuts, and meat and fish. Another B vitamin is niacin. It helps cells use food energy. It also prevents pellagra, a disease that causes weakness, reddish skin, and stomach problems. Niacin is found in meat, fish, and green vegetables.
Vitamin B12 is needed so folic acid can do its work. Together, they help produce red blood cells. Vitamin B12 is found naturally in foods like eggs, meat, fish, and milk products. Folic acid has been shown to prevent physical problems in babies when taken by their mothers during pregnancy. Vitamin B12 is found in green leafy vegetables and other foods like legumes and citrus fruits. In some countries, it is added to products like bread.
In 2003, Japanese researchers identified a new member of the B vitamin group. It is a substance known as pyrroloquinoline quinone, or PQQ. The researchers found that PQQ is important in the reproductive and defense systems of mice. They said the substance is similarly important for people. PQQ is found in fermented soybeans and also in parsley, green tea, green peppers, and kiwi fruit.
Vitamin C is needed for strong bones and teeth and for healthy blood passages. It also helps wounds heal quickly. The body stores little vitamin C, so we must get it every day in foods such as citrus fruits, tomatoes, and uncooked cabbage. Vitamin D increases levels of the element calcium in the blood. Calcium is needed for nerve and muscle cells to work normally. It also is needed to build strong bones.
Vitamin D prevents the children's bone disease rickets. Ultraviolet light from the sun changes a substance in the skin into vitamin D. Fish liver oil also contains vitamin D. In some countries, milk producers add vitamin D to milk so children will get enough. Vitamin K is needed for healthy blood. It thickens the blood around a cut to stop bleeding. Bacteria in the intestines normally produce vitamin K. It can also be found in pork products, liver, and in vegetables like cabbage, kale, and spinach.
Experts agree that everyone needs vitamins so that their bodies can operate normally. In general, a complete diet should provide all the vitamins a body needs in their natural form. In addition, many foods and food products now have extra vitamins and minerals added. Some people fear they do not get enough vitamins from the foods they eat, so they take products with large amounts of vitamins. They think these products, called vitamin supplements, will improve their health and protect against disease. Many adults now take vitamin supplements every day.
In 2006, medical experts gathered near Washington, D.C. to discuss studies about vitamin supplements. The experts found little evidence that most supplements do anything to protect or improve health, but they noted that some do help to prevent disease. The experts said women who wish to become mothers should take folic acid to prevent problems in their babies. And they said vitamin D supplements and calcium can protect the bones of older women.
The medical experts agreed with doctors who say that people who know they lack a vitamin should take vitamin supplements. Some older adults, for example, may not have enough vitamin B12. That is because, as people get older, the body loses its ability to take it from foods. The experts also noted that taking too much of some vitamins can be harmful. They said people should be sure to discuss what vitamins they take with their doctors. Several studies have not been able to show that taking vitamin supplements, in addition to a balanced diet, helps to prevent disease. One study found that older Americans do not get enough vitamin C and required minerals. The study involved more than 6,000 individuals. More than half of them took vitamin supplements.
Vitamins are important to our health. A lack of required vitamins can lead to health problems. Different vitamins are found in different foods, grains, vegetables and fruits, fish and meat, eggs and milk products. And even foods that contain the same vitamins may have them in different amounts. Experts say this is why it is important to eat a mixture of foods every day to get enough of the vitamins our bodies need.
Experts urge more efforts to fight cancer in poor countries.
Health experts are calling for action to expand cancer care and control in the developing world. A paper published by the medical journal Lancet says cancer was once thought of mostly as a problem in the developed world. But it says cancer is now a leading cause of death and disability in poor countries. Experts from Harvard University and other organizations urge the international community to fight cancer aggressively. They say it should be fought the way HIV/AIDS has been fought in Africa. Cancer kills more than 7.5 million people a year worldwide. The experts say almost 2/3 are in low-income and middle-income countries. They say cancer kills more people in developing countries than AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria combined. But they say the world spends only 5% of its cancer resources in those countries. Felicia Nall from the Harvard Medical School was one of the authors of the paper. She was in Mexico when she was found to have breast cancer. She received treatment there. She says the experience showed her the sharp divide between the rich and the poor in treating breast cancer.
And what we're seeing more and more is how this is attacking young women. It's the number 2 cause of death in Mexico for women 30 to 54. All over the developing world except the poorest, it's the number 1 cancer-related death among young women. And I think we have to again say there is much more we could do about it than we are doing about it.
Professor Nall met community health workers during her work in developing countries. She says they were an important part of efforts to reduce deaths from cervical cancer. They were able to persuade women to get tested and to get vaccinated against a virus that can cause it. The experts say cancer care does not have to be costly. For example, patients can be treated with lower-cost drugs that are off patent. This means the drugs are no longer legally protected against being copied. In another new report, the American Cancer Society says cancer has the highest economic cost of any cause of death. It caused an estimated $900 billion in economic losses worldwide in 2008. That was 1.5% of the world economy, and just losses from early death and disability. The study did not estimate direct medical costs, but it says the productivity losses are almost 20% higher than for the second leading cause of economic loss, heart disease.
Do it yourself, preparing fish for drying or smoking.
There are different ways to store fish. 2 ways to keep fish for future use are canning and freezing. 2 other methods are drying and smoking. Today, we have the first of 2 reports describing step by step how to prepare dried or smoked fish. Begin with fish that are just out of the water. If the fish are small, leave their heads on. Cut off the heads if the fish are longer than 20 centimeters or weigh more than 115 grams. Now clean the freshly caught fish. Cut off the scales and cut open the stomach. Remove everything inside. Then wash the fish in clean water and rub salt into them. Next, put the fish in a container with a solution of 300 grams of salt and 1 liter of water. This will remove the blood from the meat. Keep the fish in the salt water for about 30 minutes. After that, wash them again in clean water. Next, put the fish in a solution that has more salt in the water. The water should be salty enough so that the fish float to the top. If the fish sink to the bottom of the container, add more salt to the water. Cover the container with a clean piece of wood. Place a heavy stone on the wood to hold it down. Leave the fish there for about 6 hours. After that, remove them from the salt water and place them on a clean surface. Cover the fish with a clean piece of white cloth and let them dry. We are not done yet. We will discuss the next steps in drying fish next week. We will also describe the smoking process. Another method of preparing fish is called dry salting. Wooden boxes or baskets are used for dry salting. After cleaning the fish, put a few of them on the bottom of the box or basket. Cover them with salt, then put more fish on top. Cover them also with salt. Continue putting fish and salt in the container until it is full. Do not use too much salt when using the dry salting method. You should use 1 part salt to 3 parts fish. For example, if you have 3 kilograms of fish, you should use 1 kilogram of salt. Remove the fish after a week or 10 days. Wash them in a mixture of water and a small amount of salt and let them dry. We have talked a lot about salt. Keep in mind that doctors advise people to limit the sodium in their diet. It can raise blood pressure, and some people have more of a reaction than others.